Hi, I'm Steve Spurgeon with TCO Fly Shop. Today we're going to talk to you about some small stream fundamentals. Before we actually get out on the water though, I'd like to talk to you briefly about the gear we're going to be using. Typically for small stream use, you can be using a fly rod anywhere from a 0 weight to a 5 weight and let's say 7 feet to 9 feet in length. We find here in the Mid-Atlantic we really like to use a rod that's anywhere from 8 to 9 feet, and really we pretty much stick to 3 and 4 weights. The longer rods allow better mending and line control, while the heavier line weights allow us better turnover into the wind, and if we want to do some nymphing, we have the capacity to do that a little bit easier. So speaking on gear specifically, today I'm going to be fishing the Scott G2 in the 8-foot 8-inch 3-weight configuration. I really have a fondness for this rod. It has a really nice medium action, which I enjoy. I have a real preference for dry fly fishing. This rod allows me to turn over long leaders and protect light tippets. It's a really enjoyable rod. It gives a lot of feedback and line feels. Lenny, on the other hand, likes a faster action rod. He's also going to be fishing a rod from Scott today. It's the S4. He's going to be fishing the 8-foot 6-inch 4-weight configuration.
Hi, I'm Gliwa with TCO Fly Shop. Now we're going to be talking a little bit about the leaders and tippet that we're going to be using on the stream today. We're going to be fishing with some 9-foot 5X tapered leaders and some 6X tippet. Obviously, you can get away with some heavier tippets when the conditions allow for it, and other times water conditions are going to dictate that you're going to need to drop down to a lighter tippet. Okay, so today we're going to be fishing 3 really simple flies: the CDC and elk, a small beadhead pheasant-tail, and a CDC caddis. Steve's going to be fishing a dry fly using the CDC caddis, while I'm going to be fishing a dry dropper system, a tandem rig that we're going to discuss in a little bit.
We're here on Valley Creek in Valley Forge National Park today to go over some small stream fundamentals. We get a lot of questions in the shop in regard to this stream specifically and how to fish it. Really, you can take these with you anywhere you go and apply them to a small stream in your area. What we're going to talk about quickly is holding water. Reading water as far as where are we looking for fish and why are we looking there. This water, although it's moving fast and this has a lot of oxygen, not really going to be a good place to spend a lot of time fishing. It's shallow, there's not a lot of structure, there's not a lot of cover. So if I'm a fish and I'm going to be food for a lot of things at the end of the day, I don't want to spend a lot of time in water like this. I want to be somewhere safe and secluded where I have easy access to food and a steady supply of oxygen. Okay, so what we've done is we've walked upstream about 10 yards. You can see the water behind me looks a lot more productive. We've got a deeper run here, slower pool, a lot of cover in this root structure on the right side of the stream, and then we come into a nice little tail out here where you have what we call a feeding lane. You can see there's a nice current along that right side of the bank that's going to be bringing food to these fish all day. So they're going to stay there. They got cover, they've got oxygen, they've got a steady supply of food. We're going to make a couple casts with a dry fly and see what happens. Valley ground. As you can see, approach is equally critical on a small stream. Fishing off a knee can be the key to success in a lot of these pools. These fish are wild, they're small, and they're spooky. So go into it more like hunting rather than fishing.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about a really important part of fishing, and that's proper fish handling, care, and release. As you can see, this fish is probably no more than 4, maybe 5 inches long. Gorgeous little Valley Creek brown trout, but I still decided to take out my net. Makes landing and removing the hook a lot easier on the fish. That way you're not keeping the fish out of water. You don't have to touch the fish. You're not, going to hurt the fish at all. In and out. We use a lot of barbless flies. Actually, we use all barbless flies so that it's easy to remove the hooks and really makes things a lot easier on the fish. So as you can see, get one more little shot with this beautiful little fella right here, and all I got to do is just slide the net back in the water and he's gone. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about the dry dropper rig. This is a really simple and easy rig that allows you to cover 2 areas in the water column, both on the surface with the dry fly and below the surface with a nymph. Now, a lot of you may be familiar with this setup. For those of you who aren't, I'm just going to run through it real quick here. So right now we have our tippet that would be connected to our leader going up to our fly line. We're going to clinch knot that tippet to the eye of our dry fly. Now, for the purposes of the video, just so that you guys can kind of see, we're using a large stimulator here. Normally I would be using something a little bit smaller, something like a smaller caddis or something like that we're going to see in a lot of the creeks in my area. It's a little bit more low-key and less spooky. Now for the dropper portion, all we're going to do is we're just going to take a length of our tippet anywhere from 2 to maybe 5 feet depending upon conditions, and you can use whatever size tippet you prefer. Like I said, obviously letting water conditions dictate. And what we're going to do is we're just going to tie a clinch knot off of the bend of that hook. So we're going to take that tippet and tie a clinch knot to the bend of that hook. Then we're going to run down to the end of our tippet here, and we're going to have another clinch knot attached to our nymph. In this case, it's a beadhead flashback pheasant tail. So, like I said, it's a very straightforward setup. All we're going to be doing is when you're casting and fishing, we're going to be suspending this nymph below this dry fly, and the dry fly is going to act not only as an indicator but as a dry fly, so you have the ability to catch a fish on this dry fly while using it as an indicator. So, like I said, it's a very easy and effective technique. Hopefully you guys enjoy this, and give it a try next time you're out on the water.
After a few drifts through this run with a dry dropper rig, a fish perfectly illustrated why it makes a lot more sense to fish a dry dropper rig than an indicator rig in a lot of situations by taking that dry fly. After a brief fight, however, I did lose that fish. Now, even though I didn't land that fish, this clip still shows that by fishing a dry dropper rig, you will hook more fish. So make sure to give it a try the next time you're on the stream.
Got him.
It's about a 2-pound fish. Oh, gentleman's release.
Gentleman's release.
Well, there you go.